A group of terrorists hijacks a plane for money, and right when they think they're in control, they realize they're trapped with a vampire who will do whatever it takes to protect her son. The movie opens with a group of soldiers who are about to intercept a plane because a terrorist is on it. It's said that the plane has explosives, so they have to be very careful. A little boy named Elias starts getting off the plane, and the boss orders them not to shoot. After checking that there's nothing strange with the boy, the soldiers take him to a safe place. The boss starts communicating with the terrorist Farid, warning him that if he moves, he'll order his men to shoot him. Besides missing a hand, Farid tells him that he's not a terrorist and that he can explain everything. But obviously, the boss doesn't believe him at all. Agent Naomi goes to talk to Elias, asking him what happened. And trust me, so many things happen that you'll be left speechless. We travel back in time where we see Elias's mother putting on a wig. He and his mother went to the airport together where they met Farid, a guy so nice that he helped Elias with his luggage. Nadia goes to the bathroom to inject her medication because she has a blood disease. According to Elias, they're going to the United States to cure her, but Nadia interrupts the conversation, so Farid couldn't ask him anything else. Everyone boarded the plane and everything was fine until a man starts misbehaving. An air marshal tries to calm him down. His partner comes to help him too, but it turns out everything is a trap to neutralize the undercover cops on the plane. With no other choice, they tell them where their other partner is, and one of the terrorists goes to put her to sleep right away. When the guy confirms that he took care of it, 8-Ball disposes of the remaining cop without thinking twice. The terrorists announce that they're in control of the plane. Elias knows about a place to hide. When the terrorists try to take Farid away, Elias takes the opportunity to go to the hiding spot, and Nadia went after him to bring him back. She tries to reason with 8-Ball, but at that moment, Carl takes Elias back to his seat, asking him not to move from there. Berg doesn't like 8-Ball's behavior, so he takes his gun away before asking Carl to keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, Nadia is still alive and remembers when she was traveling with her husband. The car broke down in the middle of the road, so he told Nadia he would go look for help. However, several hours passed and he still hadn't returned. Nadia went looking for him with Elias in her arms, only to encounter a dangerous vampire. Nadia locked herself in a room where she found her husband's body. The vampire tried to get in through a hole. She managed to keep him from getting inside, and the sunlight eventually killed him. Nadia was bitten in the process, and that was how she became a vampire. Nadia hides in the place Elias mentioned, takes off her contact lenses, and shows her green vampire eyes. Berg forces Farid to record a message in Arabic, saying that they will crash the plane in London. Earlier, they killed the pilot, changed the plane's course, and the co-pilot, who was in on the plan, radioed in to report that everything was fine. A weak Nadia hides from one of the terrorists. The idiot only hears the dogs barking. Nadia crawls to one of the cages, frees the most harmless little dog, and uses it as food to recover her energy. Nadia is discovered, but right then, she kills the guy with ease while the terrorists plant an explosive on a door. Minutes later, the others find their dead partner and think it was the work of the other dog that Nadia freed. They put the dog to sleep and prepare to jump out of the plane while Nadia returns to look for Elias. She heard the message that Farid read, so she knows she just has to change the plane's direction, but the pilot is already dead. She asks if anyone knows how to fly a plane. When Bill stands up saying that maybe he can do it, Farid reveals the terrorist plan to the others. It seems that they want to cause a catastrophe that will cause the stock market to crash. Nadia locks herself in the cockpit with Bill. She tells him to wait for the terrorist to jump, but then 8-Ball finds Nadia's medication. He knows it's hers because he saw it after shooting her, so he goes to check, only to discover that Nadia is still alive. They go after Nadia right away, and the others tell them where she is. Nadia orders Bill to change the plane's course, but since the guy is hesitating, she asks him with her vampire face. And yes, Elias knows perfectly what she is. The terrorists realize that the plane is turning. Berg threatens to kill a passenger. Even so, Nadia doesn't open the door, so Berg kills him before telling her that he'll keep killing passengers until she opens the door. Berg asks 8-Ball to bring him another passenger. The guy is a complete psychopath, so he brings him a little girl. A surprised Berg agrees to use her as a hostage. Nadia gets so angry that her vampire instincts take over before she opens the door and sinks her teeth into Berg's neck. The terrorists realize that they're in danger. Nadia chases them like crazy, but since Berg is about to turn, she kills him with his knife to prevent it. Nadia tries to comfort the girl she saved, who runs away terrified, and even her son was left speechless. Nadia asks him to stay in the cockpit and leaves to take care of the rest. Obviously, she's not happy with her condition, so she looks at herself with disgust before injecting herself so she doesn't lose control. Meanwhile, 8-Ball already knows that she's a vampire. His partners don't believe him at all and plan to readjust the route to complete the mission, since someone else paid them to do this, and they want the rest of the payment. Elias runs out of the cockpit, opens the bathroom door with a knife, and finds his mother quite weak. He tries to drag her to the cockpit, Bill was about to help him, but the terrorist appeared, so the loser locks himself alone in the cockpit. Nadja asks Elias to hide before trying to face the enemies. 8-Ball uses some kind of flashlight, which seems to be Nadja's weakness. He then takes a syringe and extracts some of Nadja's blood. When 8-Ball is about to kill her, Elias points a gun at him that he found on the floor. 8-Ball decides to move closer, and right then, the pressure is now unbearable, so everyone must use oxygen masks. Nadja puts an oxygen mask on her son. She then shoots 8-Ball, who manages to escape because the wound wasn't fatal. Meanwhile, Bill goes to heaven from a lack of oxygen, and the terrorists manage to get into the cockpit. Nadja knows she can't fight while taking care of her son, so she decides to leave him in Farid's hands. While the terrorists change the plane's route, Nadja continues chasing 8-Ball. She finds him locked in a car, but the gun is useless because it's an armored car. Even so, she ends up making a hole in the glass. However, 8-Ball takes the metal rod away from her and injects Nadja's blood into himself. As he starts turning into a vampire, Nadja finds matches and a flammable liquid. She pours the liquid through the hole before setting the front of the car on fire. Her plan was to watch him burn completely, but the fire suppression system activates, and on top of that, the terrorists come to check out what happened. Nadja tries to escape through the hatch. One of them shoots her in the foot. The other passengers end up seeing her, so everyone panics and starts running. The terrorists check the car, but at that moment, 8-Ball is completely out of control. One of the terrorists manages to escape, and Nadja realizes what's happening. Carl asks her for help, but Nadja ignores him and decides to seal the hatch as best as she can. I guess you already figured, but 8-Ball uses Carl to feed, and then his other partner turns. The passenger tries to take out Nadja. He soon realizes that she isn't a threat. Nadja needs to stop 8-Ball from causing more harm, so she goes downstairs to lock him in. Farid tries to help her without hesitation, but 8-Ball bites his hand. Luckily, the other guy shoots him when he was about to get out, and they manage to lock him in the plane's cargo hold. Farid knows what being bitten implies, so he lets Nadja cut off his hand. They return to the cockpit along with the terrorist, since he knows how to turn the plane around. The terrorist message activates, but Baston stops it and reports that the plane was hijacked, but everything is fine now. However, things aren't looking good. Nadja's medicine bottle has broken, and she's getting dangerously close to losing control. On top of that, this guy was injured when Elias shot one of the windows earlier. One of the passengers is a nurse, and she tells him that there's nothing she can do about the wound. And desperate not to die, the idiot crawls as best as he can, opens the door for 8-Ball, and begs him to bite him. 8-Ball simply hits him and then starts biting everyone in his path. As a result, the passengers try to get into the cockpit, but if they open the door, they won't be able to close it again, so they accept that those people are beyond saving. The only solution they see is to land the plane and blow it up with all the infected on board. The plan is to connect this to the fuel tank, but they need the remote to activate the detonation. The remote is in the cargo hold, along with the other guy 8-Ball bit. They could reach the location through here. However, the path is too narrow for Farid. There's another way to trigger the explosion, but neither of them would have time to get out. Nadja asks them to get off after landing the plane, telling them that she will sacrifice herself to blow it up. Elias doesn't want his mother to die, so he attacks her with the flashlight before heading toward the cargo hold. Elias defends himself using the flashlight. I don't remember who killed this idiot, but thanks to that, Elias takes the remote out of his pocket. Baston and his mother ask him to come back. Things get complicated for Elias, who ends up losing the flashlight and has no choice but to hide. Nadja tasks Farid with landing the plane and then suddenly bites Baston so she can activate her maximum strength. She then rushes out of the cockpit at full speed. 8-Ball hears Elias's screams, so he runs toward the cargo hold, scaring off all the loser vampires. Just as he's about to catch Elias, Nadja shows up to the rescue, and a brutal fight breaks out between them, where 8-Ball ends up completely overpowering her. Elias notices that the door has explosives. He gets 8-Ball's attention, making him stop attacking his mother, and when 8-Ball is close enough, Nadja takes advantage of the moment and pushes the loser out of the plane before falling completely unconscious. The worst part is that 8-Ball didn't fall off the plane, and he's about to drag Elias down with him. Farid sees everything through the camera, takes control of the plane, and makes 8-Ball get exposed to sunlight. Nadja still hasn't woken up. Elias uses his blood to feed her, but when she finally wakes up, she doesn't let Elias get close to her no matter how hard he tries. And right then, we jump back to Elias in the present. He tells Naomi that they have to get Farid off the plane, or he'll be killed by the vampires at nightfall. But she didn't believe the story and puts him to sleep. Several hours have passed, and Farid still hasn't managed to convince them. When night falls, the soldiers move in. They take Farid off the plane while he warns them that there are monsters inside. You can imagine the rest. A complete massacre breaks out inside the plane. Thinking that Farid is still on the plane, Elias jumps out of an ambulance and runs desperately toward the plane. At this point, some vampires have already gotten off, including poor Naja. Having not taken her medicine, Naja is now a wild savage, so Elias takes the detonator out of his stuffed toy and blows the plane to pieces to prevent another massacre. Farid comes to the explosion site to look for Elias, who fortunately is okay. The boss realizes that they were telling the truth, so they take off Elias's handcuffs, and that's how the movie ends. Naja's death was pretty sad for me, because after being bitten, she returned to the same place where it all began, looking for answers. There, she came across the father of the vampire who had been killed by sunlight, and the old man literally tried to kill her with a shotgun. Naja ended up killing him instead, took the medicine she found in the fridge and burned the entire house down before leaving. She did all of this just to survive, and even then, she never got a happy ending. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe for more movies like this.